So I bought a piece of flat pack furniture, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I was adamant that I would buy something made from real wood and not a piece of chipboard covered with paper, the only downside of which is that the timber then needs to be finished for protection. I'm fighting my Black & Decker workmate with a hand plane in my kitchen because I was not happy with the lack of quality in the finish of this pine. For me, there is smooth and there is also smooth. This was something I first became aware of after returning to college in 2007. After studying carpentry and joinery, I was happy to run timber through a planer and give it a bit of a sanding until it felt smooth. But after learning about furniture making, I realised that the visual aspect of a surface should not be overlooked. If we look closely at the shelving unit I bought last year, you can see ripples that indicate machining marks running across the width of the wood. This is something that even a trained eye may not spot from a distance, but when the light catches it up close, I find it very hard to ignore. Each time I walk through the timber frame of a doorway in a new building, my eyes are looking for these same marks. Ironically, they were a feature of every classroom in the college I attended, which had undergone a major refurbishment in 2005. I liken this kind of fresh from the machine finish to that of a garden fence. Think of how much harder it is to paint a piece of sawn timber, the poor coverage and how much extra paint may be required. Of course, I could sand this timber, but this is pine, and if you've ever sanded a softwood, you'll know that it tends to gum up the abrasive paper very quickly. Whereas shavings from a hand plane are smooth, satisfying, and when the blade is sharp and set correctly, they leave an almost glass-like surface. For those areas where even my block plane could not reach, I used a couple of card scrapers. This wasn't easy, but it did improve upon the supplied finish. I also believe in the importance of leaving no sharp edge on a piece of furniture, which is why I'm removing the arises on each component with a block plane. With the wide shelves, I decided to plane only the narrow edges, as the two faces had been sanded to remove all machining marks. The surface remained rough and perhaps the work of 60 grit paper, but without a proper workbench on hand, it would have been a struggle to work on them any further. I treated all of the surfaces with 2 coats of a finishing oil, which in my experience doesn't darken or taint the pine as much as Danish oil. If you're interested in seeing how this unit goes together, I may show you in a separate video. In the meantime, thanks for watching and I hope you'll take something from this.